Have you ever looked at someone who just seems to ace every exam with half the effort and wondered, what's their secret? Well, it's probably not about studying harder. It's about studying smarter. In this explainer, we're going to show you exactly how to transform your study habits with a really powerful, science-backed system.
You know that feeling, right? You spend hours and hours pouring information into your brain, but it feels like you're trying to fill a leaky bucket. Almost everything just spills right back out. It's so frustrating, and it can honestly make you feel like you're just not cut out for this stuff.
But here's the crucial point. The problem isn't you. It's not a lack of effort. It's the method. Think about it. School tells us what to learn, but almost nobody ever teaches us how our brains actually absorb and hold on to information.
Well, today, that all changes. We are going to build a brand new system from the ground up, based on real neuroscience and the techniques used by top performers. No more wasted time, no more frustration. Let's get into it.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about what doesn't work. We really need to identify these common traps, things like rereading your notes over and over, or highlighting everything that feel productive but are actually massive time wasters. So the learning pyramid shows the problem so clearly. Look at this. Passive methods, like just reading, have these shockingly low retention rates. We're talking 10 to 20%. But when you switch to active methods, like practicing problems or trying to teach someone else, that retention skyrockets to 75 or even 90%. This isn't a small difference, folks. It is a total game changer. And this really shows the two paths you can take. Over on the left, you've got cramming. It's high stress. It only gives you this temporary feeling of familiarity, and you forget it almost immediately. Your brain basically treats that info like junk mail. But on the right, you have active learning. This is where you build deep understanding for long-term retention and with way less stress.
And the science behind why cramming is so useless is something called the forgetting curve. See, your brain is literally wired to dump information it thinks is useless, and it can dump nearly 70% of what you study in just one day. Now, this isn't a personal failure. It's just a neurological fact. The good news? We can totally hack this curve.
All right, now for the first phase of our new system, Prime. This is all about setting the stage for success. Because true focus, it isn't about brute force. It's about creating the right conditions so your brain actually wants to learn.
Let's borrow a little secret from ancient monks, something they call right intention. Before you even open a book, just take a second and ask yourself, why does this actually matter to me? Connect what you're about to study to a personal goal. Maybe this physics class is a stepping stone to your dream career as an engineer. That why, that's the fuel for your focus.
You know, really simple actions can make a huge difference here. Your environment really matters. There's research that shows that even seeing your phone, even if it's turned off, reduces your cognitive capacity. So put it in another room. Create a space that signals it's go time to your brain. And a simple 2-minute breathing ritual can be an incredibly powerful mental warm-up.
Okay, on to phase 2, process. Now that your brain is primed and ready, what are the active techniques you can use during your study session to learn deeply instead of just passively scanning a page? The 80-20 rule is your secret weapon for being super efficient. In pretty much any subject, about 80% of the important information is going to come from just 20% of the material. So stop trying to memorize every single detail. Instead, hunt for that critical 20%. Look at old exams, chapter summaries, find those core ideas. It's all about studying smarter, not longer.
Now for what might be one of the most powerful learning tools ever invented, the Feynman technique. This is the ultimate test of whether you actually understand something, not just recognizing the words, but truly being able to explain a concept from the ground up.
And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures the whole philosophy. If your explanation is super complicated or it's full of jargon, you probably haven't really grasped the idea yet. True mastery is all about simplicity.
So here's how it works. It's super simple. You pick a topic. Then you explain it out loud, in the simplest terms you can, like you're talking to a little kid. The second you get stuck, or you have to use jargon, boom, you've just found a gap in your knowledge. So you go back to your notes, you fill that gap, and then you try to simplify your explanation again. You just repeat that until it's crystal clear.
Listen, marathon study sessions are a huge mistake. Your brain needs breaks to consolidate information. The Pomodoro technique works with your brain's natural rhythm. You just work in these intense, focused 25-minute sprints, and then you take a 5-minute break. It makes starting so much easier, it prevents burnout, and it keeps your mind fresh.
So, getting information into your brain is really only half the battle. You have to make sure it stays there. And that brings us to our final phase, proof, which is all about making your knowledge permanent.
I want you to think of your memory like a muscle. Rereading your notes is like watching somebody else lift weights. It does absolutely nothing for you. Active recall, though, that's the actual workout. By closing the book and forcing your brain to pull out the information, you are literally building stronger neural connections. That little bit of struggle isn't a sign of failure. It's the feeling of progress.
So how do you practice this? Well, here are some really effective ways. Flashcards are a classic for a reason. Doing practice questions from old exams is one of the best predictors of success. Or just close your book and try to write down everything you remember on a blank page. And, like we said, teaching someone else, even an empty room, is the ultimate test.
Hey, remember that villain, the forgetting curve? Well, spaced repetition is how you defeat it. Instead of cramming all at once, you strategically space out your reviews over time. You reinforce the information right before your brain is about to forget it.
Here's what a simple schedule could look like. You learn a new concept on day 1. Then you do a quick review on day 3, and then again maybe a week later. Each review takes less and less time, but it pushes that information deeper and deeper into your long-term memory. This is how you remember things for life, not just for the next test.
Okay, wow. We have covered a lot of ground. So let's take a second and put all of these pieces together into one simple, powerful framework that you can start using literally today.
Here it is. Your new system is prime, process, and proof. Before you study, you prime your brain and your environment. During your session, you process the information actively, using tools like the 80-20 rule and the Feynman technique. And afterward, you proof your knowledge with active recall and spaced repetition. See, this isn't just a collection of random tips. It's a complete system designed to work with your brain, not against it.
So let's end with this thought. Effective learning is not some gift you're born with. It is a skill. And like any skill, it can be trained and it can be mastered. You now have the tools and the system to do it. So the only question left is, what are you going to master next?